Y'all, the reason why I was away was because of you guys. I said, guys, I love you. You said, I'm gonna throw this in the middle of nowhere and make her fight demons. For what? I don't know. Flashback to the time you guys forced that to happen, because it was not a sub goal in my mind. That was nothing. That was not my sub goal. Why would I make that a sub goal? It was a sub goal you guys made. I remember so vividly, you guys that day said, let's make her make this a sub goal. I said, no freaking thank you. You guys randomly made it so we got 2,000 gifted subs in one stream. One stream alone. You guys, don't you me? You guys made it a sub goal to make me go to a haunted place. Mind you, I didn't even have to do that because you guys made it up yourself. Okay, you're right. You're right. It wasn't our fault. It absolutely fucking was your fault. You guys gifted 2,000. I know I could have said no, but how fucked up of me would that be if I just didn't do that when you guys were being so kind and gifted that much? Of course I'm gonna have to use it because otherwise I'd feel guilty having 2,000 subs just in my possession for something, you know, like that. Just I feel like I had to, and so we did, and we went to a sanatorium that was 42,000 square feet. And yes, I ended up having to go to a haunted sanatorium when I am jump scared by my own fucking shadow.
Buddy, I'm Numi. Howdy everybody, I'm Numi Ratmune, and I'm getting ready to go spooky hunting. But before that, something that you guys would love to know about is my drop of Gamer Subs goodies. Got a metal shaker.
Hi, I'm Numi, and the ad is for myself. I have Gamer Subs merch out right now, including a metal shaker with a cool promo V card and a bunch of other stuff. Please get it if you can. If not, that's okay too, but sick. Weeks only. Okay, thanks. Bye. So we're at the sanatorium in this video, and it was golden hour, so the lighting was perfect. And I was telling them how maybe we should film just a random impromptu advertisement here instead, and then they said you should just do it. So I don't know if you can even notice, Shia is Freddy Fazbear, and he's in the background the entire time just standing there. This is all for the video that's coming out in October, by the way. Buff is there, and I don't know if you guys were even able to see this, but Buff is also here the entire time. I know people are like, what the f***? They saw Shia, but I didn't see a single person point out Buff being here the whole time. She is? Yeah, that's Buff. That's Buff in a fursuit. From Spirit Halloween. Also, the reason why I sound like I'm being held at gunpoint is not only because I'm, promoting, and we already know how I feel about promoting shit, but it's because we are on the sanatorium. This is before we officially went in. And I was trying to get my audio stuff to work for like 30-40 minutes, and I couldn't get it to work. So I sounded stressed the f***. And I just said, okay, let's just record it without it because it's almost dark and we still need to record the intro of the sanatorium video. And so we go here, which is a broken down bus in a car that transports the dead bodies. And behind me right here is the tuberculosis hospital. And on the other side is the electrical building. And beyond that is the nurses center, and then right next to that is the psychiatric ward, which was 5 stories. So I was scared because we were gonna have to go in immediately after this. So this is me sounding not only stressed out because of the audio, promoting the new drop, but also because we were about to go into the sanatorium. And I don't want to leak too much of what we did or what ended up happening, but we start out this in a tunnel. There is a tunnel that leads into the sanatorium, an underground tunnel that is right next to where we are. And so after this, we go in through a tunnel, and there were the most disgusting insects. Okay, I don't hate spiders. I don't really care about spiders like that. Mish would probably pass out if she went into this tunnel. It would be a horde. I am not even f***ing kidding. You look up in this tunnel that is about maybe 5 feet, you know, 5'5" tall, right? Not even 6 feet. I think Shia was like bending down almost for some portions of this. But if you looked up at the ceiling, there would be hundreds, if not thousands, of these cricket spiders that were all just hanging out. They're harmless, but they were so not good to look at, bro. They were so not good to look at. And there were garter snakes to the left of us. So there was just snakes and spiders and a little tiny area for you to walk through to get to the inside. Yeah, I know Mish doesn't mind the snakes, but so she would probably be looking at the snakes. But the second she looked right, and there was a couple at first, but then at one point Avery looks up and he just screams because there was probably 1,000 of those spiders. Okay, I need to show you guys a picture of what it looked like because it was nasty. Oh my god, they look like this. They were like this. Kinda. They look like this in a way, but they're like... They were f***ing huge. They were like half of a V card. That's how big they were. That's how big they looked. And there was like thousands of them in there. I was like, oh my god, Numi, they're everywhere. I'm like, I'm not looking up. I just... It was so... Oh my god, that's small, but thousands. Yeah, no, Mish, you would not have been able to survive that. Girl, I would have cried. I know they're harmless, so I wasn't freaking out because of that. It's just they looked so... They just did not... I've just never seen an insect like that in my life because they're not in California. It felt like adding a new Pokemon to my Pokédex. The way I've never seen anything like that before in my life. It was crazy. They have that don't eat me texture. Yeah, they were little. I would have teleported back to Australia. She would have rather seen the spiders in Australia, bro. Oh my god. They were so... Oh my god. And we saw bats in there. But yeah, the place that was the most spooky, according to the people there, is the psych ward, obviously. The first 2 floors were co-ed. The 3rd floor was for the psych ward patients that were women who hated men. And then the 4th floor was the psych ward patients that were men that hated women. And then the 5th floor was just the psych ward patients that were the most unstable and aggressive. And I shared a couple pictures on Twitter. This was my favorite picture. I actually do a cute little K-pop dance in the beginning of here. This is in front of the tuberculosis building, which was the place with the least recorded activity. But we started here, so this is where I was the most myself because, you know, I did not want to be left alone. Also, in this part, I was going through with my rat mask on. I could not see anything. So anytime somebody was not within eyesight, I started to actually cry. And then this is what some of the hallways looked like. That was one of the more kind looking ones. Ah, yes, this one's kind of crazy. So this was what most of the rooms were looking like. Oh, yeah, right. There were like just random little things like this that we were looking at. And then this one looked like a body was being dragged in here. That was cool. Not really. I was coping. I was coping. I was clutching my pearls. Yeah. And then there was like rooms like this. Yep, that's what it looked like. Yeah, and we were there for like 6 hours. Yeah, we left at like 2 a.m. almost. So, good times. Good times that was. I'd fart myself, I feel. Real. Everybody's quiet and then somebody just toots and it's all over. Yeah, the whole entire property was 120,000 square feet. The actual building itself was 42,000 square feet. So it was gigantic. I schnitted myself, yeah, straight up. And for the first part of it, Shia was in his Freddy Fazbear fit. Guys, it was so funny. He was in his Freddy Fazbear fit and I was in my rat fit. So it was me being scared as fuck, right? And then the camera would turn to me and Shia would be behind me. So when the camera was on me and I'm holding it, it's just me in my rat costume with Freddy Fazbear behind me. It was so funny. It was so funny. It just looked so stupid. It looked so stupid. Oh my god, but one of the pictures that I uploaded on Twitter was this picture. This is what it looked like behind me. I turned around, I just saw this. Freddy Fazbear Shia, bro. Oh my god. It was so wild, dude. Oh my gosh. And at one point, me and Avery were just in a room and we're just like dancing to K-pop in a corner. No, actually, funny story. Andrew would be like, hey girl, I finished this instrumental. How's it going over there? And I'd be like sending pictures like this. And he's like, what the f? Where the fuck are you? Because I just didn't tell people where I was. So he was like, bro, what's happening? What's going on? And I was like, bro, no, Mr. Holmes, wait a minute, bro, hear me out. The music that we can be creating from this spectacular excursion will be beyond anything the world has ever seen. It was so funny. It was so funny. Oh my gosh. Man, there were some parts that were like really silly. And then some parts that just had me a little irked. Because they would just say like, you can tell if one of the more aggressive ones are there, like this one really scary one, because it would seem a lot more dark. It was on one specific floor, right? I believe it was, yeah, I think it was there was one floor that had the most activity for us, and it was the men hating woman floor. And a lot of it was directed towards me. So I was like, right. But at one point, what I feel like what bro was like agitated, I have no idea. But like it normally looked just kind of casually dark. I don't know how to describe it. It would be like, it would be kind of like this, but a little more dark, right? More of a vignette around. That's kind of what your vision would see. But they said when there's like this aggressive, evil spirit that they don't even think was human, was a demon, right? It would just look pitch fucking black. I did not know what she meant by that because, you know, what could she mean by that? And then I understood because there's a little bit of light in every room, right? Because there's I don't know, like a light outside or something. And it looked like this, but then all of us looked out into the hallway at one point and it was pitch black. And then I think you could hear me just going like, buff. Yeah, good times.